Shalom, this is Levi Shore. Welcome back to Sweet Good Torah. So today we're going to learn all about the 17th of Tammuz. What is the 17th of Tammuz? How did it become a fast day? Why is it the beginning of the 3 weeks? And how in the future it's going to actually become a Yom Tov in the Days of Moshiach. It's going to become a festival. It's going to become a day of celebration. And actually, instead of these 3 weeks of mourning, we're going to have 3 weeks of celebration from the 17th of Tammuz into Tisha B'Av, which will, instead of being the day of the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash of the temple, who knows, maybe even that day will be the rebuilding of the third Beis HaMikdash. But we'll see all the special things about the 17th of Tammuz and the great tragedy of the 17th of Tammuz and how it became a day of mourning. All right, so we'll have to start off on the 6th of Sivan, was the day of Matan Torah. And this was in the Hebrew year 2448. And this is the year of the Yetzias Mitzrayim, the Exodus from Egypt. And the whole Jewish people, 3 million Jewish people. And then it's very interesting. We have a tradition that all the neshamas, all the souls of every Jewish person that would ever be born was there at the hearing Hashem speak at the Matan Torah, at the giving of the Torah. Everyone heard Hashem speak, heard Hashem's voice, speaking to all the Jewish people, all the souls of the Jewish people that would be born, and even the souls of the Gerim, even the souls of the converts. And what's very interesting is everyone alive in the world who wish that they could be there, they're reborn as a ger, as a convert, and they join the Jewish people. So on the 6th of Sivan, we heard Hashem speak. And then on the next day, the 7th of Sivan, Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, he goes up Har Sinai, he goes up Mount Sinai, and he goes into the higher spiritual worlds. He actually goes into Shemayim. He goes and learns for 40 days the Torah from Hashem. So if we count, so the 23 days that are left in the month of Sivan, plus the first 17 days in the month of Tammuz, we get the 40 days. So this is the 40 days and nights that Moshe Rabbeinu, that Moses is learning Torah directly from Hashem. So then we see in Parsha, it's Parsha Kisisa, and this is in Sefer Shmos, it's in the book of Exodus. And then we see this pasuk, and it's, if you want to look it up, it's Exodus 31:18. It says, Vayitain el Moshe kichaloso lidaber ito. So then, and he gives to Moshe, meaning Hashem, he gives to Moshe when he was finished speaking with him. So we see that here the Torah is saying that it was direct communication, that Hashem spoke. I mean, it's an infinite being. It's a very deep mystical concept of how an infinite being speaks to Moses. Bahar Sinai, on Mount Sinai. Shnei luchos ha'edos. He gives him these 2 tablets of testimony. And luchos even, and they were tablets made of precious stone, and we'll see that they were actually made of sapphire. Kesuvim be'etzba Elokim, and then the finger of Elokim writes the words into the tablet. And this, I said before, this is Kisisa, Parsha Kisisa, and it's 31:18. All right, so what's very interesting here in this pasuk is we see the direct communication. We see that Hashem's teaching Moshe, and that Hashem engraves the letters himself, and Hashem, the first set of tablets, Hashem gave us the tablets. So these sapphire tablets, where did they actually come from? And under the Kisei Kavod, so this is in the spiritual world of Berea, the world of creation, and that in that world there's the throne that Ezekiel had the vision of, in his the vision of the Merkava, Hashem's chariot, this throne, and underneath the throne is bricks made of sapphire. So these bricks, Hashem, the Midrash says that Hashem took 2 of these bricks and they became the first set of the tablets. So we see in Parsha, let's see, this is in Parsha Mishpatim. So this is Exodus 24:10 if you want to look it up. So actually on the 4th of Sivan, we see that Moses, Aaron's sons Nadav and Avihu, and the 70 Zikanim, the 70 elders, that they all started to go up Mount Sinai, and they had a vision of Hashem's throne room, And it says, Vayiru es Elokei Yisrael, and they saw the God of Israel, V'sachatz raglav, and underneath his feet, Kemaise livnat sapphire, was like the work of sapphire bricks. The un etzem hashemayim latohar, and this is the essence of heaven, and it had tahara, it was spiritual purity. So the Midrash says that Hashem took he took two of the bricks underneath his throne. There's also a Midrash, it's very interesting, it says that the neshamas, that the souls of people are also taken from underneath his throne, from that high world. And there's a sense that these bricks are the like the spiritual, like just we have a body, they're like the body of the Torah, and that the writing, the Shem's writing on the tablets is like the neshama, is like the soul of the tablets. So then there's a famous midrash in Shmos Rabbah where it's Shmos Rabbah 41:7, and it says, why two tablets? So Hashem spoke to us the Aseres Dibros. He spoke to us the Ten Commandments, and then he engraved the Ten Commandments on these two sapphire tablets. And then why the 10? So first thing, it's like the root of creation is the 10 Sephiros, it's the 10 names of Hashem. And then these 10, they further divide down. So these 10 are these are the 10 main mitzvos, and then they divide into the 613 mitzvos. And we're going to see, so these are the main categories. So in Shmos Rabbah, it describes like why is it two? So one tablet represents Shemayim, heaven, and the other represents the earth. And this is to demonstrate that the heavens and the earth, they were only created that mankind should learn Torah and do the mitzvos. The tablets represent the chasen and the kala, the groom and the bride. And like Hashem, at Matan Torah, at the giving of the Torah, Hashem is the chasen, he's the groom, and then Klal Yisrael, the Jewish people, become the kala, become the bride. And so we were joined now in a very deep spiritual way, always with Hashem. And then the commandments are divided up, 5 on one tablet and 5 on the other tablet. So the first five mitzvahs on the first tablet, they're the mitzvahs of Bein Adam L'Makom. They're the mitzvahs of our relationship to Hashem. And then the 5 on the second tablet, they're mitzvahs that are L'Bein Adam L'Chavero. They're the mitzvahs between a person and his friend. So for instance, like on the first 5, like the very first one is like, I am Hashem your God, you have no other gods before me. And then I believe like Shabbos. So we have all these mitzvahs that are our relationship with Hashem. And then for instance, on the second set where it's the relationship between people, we have things like don't steal, don't don't kill. So it's like the 5 mitzvahs of a relationship with people. So this is relationship with the chasen and the kala. So then the midrash also says that it represents the two shoshvinim, the two ushers at this wedding between Hashem and the Jewish people, and this represents Moshe and Aaron, his brother. So Moshe, he excelled at the mitzvahs Bein Adam L'Makom, like Moshe's elevated status. He was the greatest Navi, the greatest prophet that ever lived. And his close relationship with Hashem, that he actually learned the Torah directly from Hashem. And then Aaron, who was filled with chesed, kindness, and he was known as a Rodev Shalom. He would always look to make peace between people. So he excelled in the mitzvahs of Bein Adam L'Chavero, the mitzvahs between people. So these are the two, the shoshvinim, the two ushers at the wedding. And then the 2 tablets represent Olam Hazeh. We're living in this world right now. And the goal of the Torah is that we will elevate ourselves through learning the Torah and through doing the mitzvahs. And then B'ezrat Hashem, one day in the Yemot Mashiach, in the Days of Moshiach, we'll elevate the whole world to Olam Haba, the world that's coming. So Olam Hazeh is the world we have now, this world. And then we're going to elevate this world to its potential of Olam Haba, the world to come. All right, so it says in Shabbos 104a, that it was very miraculous the way that Hashem had engraved the tablet. The writing, the letters went all the way through the whole thick sapphire tablets. It was a nace, it was a miracle that you could read it no matter if you looked at the front or the back. The letters would always be facing you the correct way. So they would always face you, even though it was engraved all the way through. Whatever side you were looking at, the letters were facing you and you could read it. And then letters like the Mem and the Samech, they cut out a little piece in the middle, but those little interior pieces floated miraculously. So the whole thing was a nace. It was written by the Etzba of Elohim, the finger of God. And then we have a famous Rashi. So what went wrong? So what the 17th of Tammuz was supposed to be was supposed to be this great celebration in the day that we received this first set of tablets. Unfortunately, it became the day of the Chet HaEgel, the golden calf, and then we received the second set of tablets on Yom Kippur. Okay, so there's a famous Rashi on Ki Boshesh Moshe, that Moshe delayed. And what Rashi says is he brings down a famous midrash, and he says that on the 16th of Tammuz, so people miscalculated because Moshe went up to Mount Sinai on the 7th of Sivan, but they counted that as a day. They were supposed to start the counting the day after. So on the 16th of Sivan, some people had miscalculated that was the 40 days. So the Satan, the Yetzer Hara, he tricked them. He tricked the Jewish people, and Rashi says, on the 16th, Satan came, and he confused the world, and displayed an image of darkness, gloom, and confusion to imply that Moshe must certainly have died. That is why the Yerbuvia, the confusion, came to the world. He said to them, Moshe has died, Moses has died, 6 hours have passed, and he has not come. Because Moshe said that he would be back in the first 6 hours of the day, but it was really going to be on the 17th of Tammuz. So then the Erev Rav, the mixed multitude that came out with the Jewish people from Egypt, they began to stir up trouble. And they said, rise up, make for us gods who will go before us. For this Moshe, the man who brought us up from the land of Egypt, we do not know what became of him. And this is from Ki Sisa 32:1. So this was a huge test in Amunah, a test in faith in Hashem. And we didn't stand up to the Erev Rav. So Chor, who was the son of Miriam, he tried to stop the Erev Rav, but unfortunately they killed him. And and the Erev Rav began to unleash their insidious plan of the golden calf. So really the day was supposed to be a Yom Tov. It was supposed to be a Chag, a festival. So we see this in the actions of Aaron HaKohen. We see it in Aaron the high priest. We see it in his actions. And in the pasuk in chapter 32:5, it says, Vayara Achron vayiven mizbeach lifanav. So Aaron saw, and he built the altar before him, before Hashem. Vayikra Achron, and Aaron called out. He said, Vayomar Chag LeHashem Machar. And he said, a festival to Hashem will be tomorrow. So this is on the 16th of Tammuz. And he was saying the 17th of Tammuz was supposed to be a festival. But as we said before, unfortunately, the Erev Rav, they killed Miriam's son Chor when he was trying to stop them. And then because of this, because he died al Kiddush Hashem, he died to sanctify Hashem's name. So his grandson, Betzalel, becomes the one chosen to build all the kalim, all the utensils for the Mishkan. So Betzalel, he builds the Aron HaKodesh, the Ark of the Covenant, and the menorah, and the shulchan, where the 12 special breads, the lechem hapanim, were placed, the golden altar, where the incense was burned inside, the Beis HaMikdash, inside the Mishkan. So all these special things his grandson merited to build. And then Bilam, the evil sorcerer, who we just saw in Parsha Balak, so his two sons were part of the Erev Rav, and their names were Janus and Yambrus. And using dark magic, using the Ruach HaTuma, they started to draw down the radiance of the image of the ox that's on the Merkava. And this is from Midrash Tanchuma 701:24, if you want to look it up. So we talked about the Kisei Kavod, Hashem's throne in the world of Bria. And on that throne, there's 4 images. There's an image of an ox, which represents the king of the domestic animals. There's an image of the Nesher, the eagle, it's the king of the birds. There's the image of a lion, an Aryeh, which is the king of the wild animals. And there's an image of a man. And who is the man chosen to represent all of mankind? It's actually the image of Yaakov, of Jacob, which is very fascinating. So they started to draw this down, the image, the radiance of the ox. And then it says in Pirkei to Rebbe Eliezer 45, it says that through these dark arts, through this magic, they actually were able to bring a live calf of gold that jumped out of this molten gold, where they got people to donate gold, and it began to move around. So it says in the Yerushalmi, in the Jerusalem Talmud of Sanhedrin 81b, it says that the Erev Rav actually created 12 golden calves, one for each tribe, and this is where they called out and they said, "These are your gods, Yisrael. These are your gods, Israel, who took you out of Egypt." But we see all of this is a huge test of Amunah, because the Erev Rav was claiming that that Moshe was dead and that Moshe brought us out of Egypt. And here we see that this is not true. This is Motzi Shemra. It's a lie. It's Lashon Hara. That really, first thing, even Chas v'Shalom, is if Moshe had died, even if Moses had died, Hashem Hashem is never born. Hashem never dies. Like Hashem is always living. He's called the living God. So even if Chas v'Shalom Moshe had died, Hashem is always there. Hashem is always our protector, and Hashem is always there for us. And then it's a lie that Moshe brought us out of Egypt. It was really that Hashem was the one that performed all these miracles and brought us out of Egypt, and he let Moshe be a partner in this. But it was really like this test that even if our leader had died, Hashem is always our king. And this is a huge test. And then, of course, saying that these are your gods, these creations of magic are gods and not Hashem. So unfortunately, this was a test where we failed. And this is why the 17th of Tammuz became this day of mourning. And it says in the Gemara that every generation we actually have to get somewhat of the punishment of the golden calf, and then finally when that runs out, the Gula will come, the redemption will come, and it'll be the days of Moshiach. So the word ego, it's 3 letters, it's Ayin, Gimel, Lamed, and these are the Roshei Tevos for the 3 Averas, the 3 horrible sins that were done around the golden calf. It stands for the Avodah Zarah, the idol worship of the calf itself. The Lashon Hara spoke by the Erev Rav, falsely claiming that, Moshe was dead and that, that it wasn't Hashem that was the one that led us out of Egypt. And then Gilui Arayos. And unfortunately, it led to a lot of physical immorality around the worship of the golden calf. So unfortunately, like 3 of the worst Averas were tied into the worship of the golden calf, and even Shikfus Damin, bloodshed in the murder of Kor. And unfortunately, instead of standing up to the Erev Rav, we let them do this horrible avera, which each generation has to still pay for. Now, what ended up happening is Hashem said, "Go down, your people," meaning the Erev Rav. Like Hashem, never told Moshe to take the Erev Rav out of Egypt with us. Hashem calls the Erev Rav your people, Moshe, because you were the one that chose to bring them out. And then Moshe comes down, he sees what's going on. He's about to smash, he sees the letters from the tablet start to go back up in the Shemayim, and then he smashes now these sapphire tablets without the letters. So then these sapphire tablets, the broken sapphire tablets, they were put into the Aron HaKodesh, and they're stored there till today. And it's very fascinating. So the Arizal says something very incredible. He says, when Aaron said, Chag LeHashem Machar, that it's a festival to Hashem tomorrow, he says, what does that mean? So he says, tomorrow refers to the future. And he says that one day, Bnei Israel, one day that the Jewish people, the children of Israel, they are going to fix this chait. They're going to fix this sin of the golden calf. And then the first tablets will be illuminated again. And then what the implication is that the letters will come back down from Shemayim, and then the broken parts of the tablet will put themselves back together. Now, Sfas Emes, he further speaks about this, and he says that the tablets are a gift from Shemayim, and that anything that's given to us from Hashem, the gift is for all times. It's not a temporary thing. So even though we haven't fully received this gift yet, that in the future we are going to repair the damage. So not only will we have the second set of tablets that we received in that year on Yom Kippur, and that's why Yom Kippur became the Day of Atonement, but we will have the first tablets. Now, the advantage is the spiritual reality of the repaired first tablets is now the original hate of Adam and Chava, the original sin of Adam and Eve will be repaired also, and then the world will reach its will start to approach the state which talked about Olam Haba. And now, eventually, as the world is elevated higher and higher, there won't be need for things like sickness, because illness is only really to repair. The physical illness is just a reflection of the defects in our spiritual makeup. And when those things are healed, there's no more need for physical sickness. And then even death itself will be eliminated, because then eventually evil will be eradicated from in ourselves and from the world. And then there won't be a need for all these bad things. So eventually, with the repair of these first tablets, we'll see this much more elevated world in the days of Moshiach, and that eventually the 17th of Tammuz, instead of the day of mourning and fasting and the beginning of the 3 weeks that we're starting on now, it will actually become a Chag LaHashem Machar. It will become a festival to Hashem tomorrow. Okay, so B'ezrat Hashem, we'll fast today, and we'll pray for the coming Mashiach and the rebuilding of the Beis HaMikdash. And B'ezrat Hashem, soon enough, we'll be able to see and repair the first set of the Sapphire tablets, and we'll have that very close relationship that we had with Hashem in that very special year. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope to see you back again soon on Sweet and Good Torah.